Mr. Harmless here, back with some more tech helps. Let's get ready to learn. Mr. Harmless here, and thought I would talk to you today about two types of documents. There are two types of documents that you usually encounter. One of those types of documents is the Word document. Word documents you should all be familiar with. The other type is the Google document. In part one of this video, I'm just going to talk about where to create each of these. And I'm going to talk about where to find each of these. And then I'm going to talk about how to share each of these, especially when we're talking about Google Classroom. Let's start with where to create. If you're going to create a Word document, you can just open up Microsoft Word. Let's do that. It's usually in my Start menu, Word. And notice I can just do create blank document. There's lots of other options here, but I usually just do a blank document if I'm creating one from scratch. Here is a document for students. Okay. That's how you create your Google documents. You should always save your Google documents. I'm sorry, your Word document. I called it a Google doc. You should always save your Word documents. I like to save mine in OneDrive that's installed on my computer, but it really doesn't matter where you save it at. I'm going to call this one student document for students. Now, notice it has the title up at the top. From now on, if I need to save, I can just click the save icon or hit Control S. That's what that shortcut means. Now let's talk about how to create a Google document. I'm going to go up here to my Google Drive. Now, if you're not in your Google Drive, you can type in drive.google.com, or you can search for Google Drive. Either one of those things will work. Now, when you're in Google Docs, notice that I've got my account that I'm in is over here. So I'm going to want to switch accounts to my school account because the things I'm doing today are for students. So here I have my drive up on this tab. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new document. I just hit New. And it creates a new document. Here's another document for students. To title it, just like with Microsoft Word, to title it, I can just click on the title. And it usually gives me an automatic title based on the first line of my text. I don't want that big, long title, so I'm going to call this Student Google Doc. I noticed that I didn't have to save. In fact, if I hit the File button, thinking there might be a save option, there is not one in here. And that's because Google Docs saves automatically. So if I hadn't even titled it yet, it would still have saved my work. It would have just been saved as an untitled document. So that is how you create both a Word document and a Google document. So where to create, you open Word. Don't forget to save. Google Doc, where to create, drive.google.com. Now let's talk about where to find. When you're finding a Word document, you usually have a place where you can pull up a folder. I've got a folder down here on my shortcut. I can do it that way. It pulls up this. You have to remember where you save it in Word. I saved mine in OneDrive, if you remember. I can scroll down and find that Word document, usually in alphabetic order. Student document for students. There it is. This little icon right here means it's synchronizing it with my OneDrive that is online. So I would actually be able to find these online as well. Let me talk about that real quickly. If you're using OneDrive, you can find these things. Let me go to my mail, my school email. So if you ever want to find a document, if you saved it in your OneDrive on your computer, it will also be in OneDrive online. So if you're not on the same computer, you can pull it up. And here's how you find OneDrive. Notice I click the waffle, OneDrive. This will now switch me to the OneDrive folder. And if it's finished synchronizing, it will be in here with the rest of those. Notice all those folders I had earlier. If it hasn't synchronized yet, I can always click sync. I'm going to go back and look at my folder here. Looks like it's still synchronizing. But we can come back to that later. Oh, wait, here we go. Oh, there it is, student document for students, and I can open it up online. So this is how 2 ways to find a Word document. That is if you're using OneDrive. Now, when you're looking for a Google document, let me go back to my Drive. Remember, you can find this by drive.google.com. And usually, and here it is right here, a Google document for students. It will usually show up when you first pull up. Things that you have created recently will show up here. You can also hit recent, and it should pull up the ones that you've done recently. You can also search for it. Remember part of the name. For students. In Google Drive, you can also organize things in files, just like you would on your hard drive on your computer. These are the files that I have. Here's my Danville High list of folders. If you can't tell, I like using folders. If you want to put one, let me go back to my student document. If you want to locate it somewhere, this little icon right here is a way to move it. So you say, I really want to have that in my Danville High folder. And I want it to be under, let's go down. Oh, here's my instructional coach photo. Let's say I want it to be in there. I can click here and click move. And then if you have your folder shared, other people will be able to see it. Notice it says organizing. There we go. All right, so there are ways to find your files. Let's review on that. Where to find folders on your computer. One way. Put optional OneDrive online. If you have OneDrive installed, okay. Where to find a Google document? Again, drive.google.com. You can locate it in recent or in a folder that you put it in, or you can also find it by searching. There's a search feature in Windows as well. So if you have a document that you know you saved on your computer and you can't remember where it was at, you can also especially in the newest version of Windows, there's a search bar right here. If you click in here, you can usually type in the name of a file and it will find it for you. Okay, this is part 1 of 2 types of documents. In part 2, I'm going to talk about how to share these. And that's the important part when you're sharing these with students. It depends on what you're hoping for those students to be able to do as to which type of file that you're going to use. Join me for part 2.